Game 2 coming at you right now. SB versus Elevate. Again, SB, the number 2 team right now in the North American SEL, looking to extend their lead over the rest of the league.
It's all about the timing, and unfortunately for Elevate, they didn't have the necessarily timing split push potential to really keep themselves in that game whenever strictly business ball was in their court, rather. So that's going to be a one loss for them in this set, but they could still come back to it. They could still find at least a split here.
Ymir was banned away by Elevate. Instead, this time they're going to ban away the Kabrakan and pick the Ymir. They did the opposite last time around. Going to try and take that away from Niquid. Very, very comfortable on that in the solo lane. Xing Chen is going to be the selection. Again, I assume that's going to be for Niquid. Seems to love playing these Guardians. Mr. Teep not deterred by his difficult early game going back to the Poseidon.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They won despite that early game pressure, but now all he has to do is just not die in the early game, right? It's easier said than done, but as long as they can spot out the rotations from DoctorL, who's now going to be playing on the Batz instead of the Ratatasker, so not going to have that global pressure, going to be easier to spot him coming.
I really like DoctorL and the Batz, or excuse me, the Ratatasker, so I'm a little bit surprised to see him switch it up here. I think I would have rather seen him stick to it, though I do love oBoronic sticking to that Zeus, like I mentioned, just so known for this god, so comfortable on it. And SB, they're still doing the same thing, man. Thanatos, probably for Reminisst in the jungle. Elevate says enough. That composition was good, we get it. No Fafnir this time around for Chillvanus.
And I still, like, despite having the global pressure from Ratatasker, switching things up with the Batz synergizes very well with the Ymir also, because the fact that you have more control now. Now, Ratatasker does have a little bit with the global ultimate, but it's a lot smaller of a circle than in terms of the Batz Fear No Evil.
That's true.
And you're trying to control a large portion of the jungle with the composition from Elevate, the Zeus, the Batz, and now the Odin cage to pair it off.
Could be Odin in the support role. We've seen Kenshin play it a decent amount during his time on the SCL. Ymir could be in the solo lane for Delnyy, or could, of course, be swapped there, vice versa. Yi, the selection, though, for Michael Checo. Definitely synergizing well. There's a lot of stuff that works well with Odin Cage. In fact, every single god for Elevate is a giant circle that fits very, very nicely in that Odin Cage. It's like one of those... you know, like kids' toys where you put the square in the square. This time for Elevate, it's put your giant circle in the big giant circle.
You can always find those toys, like, what, in the doctor's office or the dentist's office, basically. But
you're about to find it on the battleground of the gods right now, because Elevate, they're going for it. Ullr is going to be the selection for Keji. Again, in that dual lane. Amaterasu, again, we've just seen Niquid on so many Guardians that I have to expect this is going to be Xing Chen in the solo lane.
And it is.
And that it will. Chillvanus going to be playing this Amaterasu support.
And we've seen it before in the SPL. Playing some of these warrior supports, you're doing a good amount of damage in the early stages, level 1, 2, especially if you get the aura here from the Amaterasu. You're getting a bonus physical and magical power with the aura, and more mobility whenever you stand switch. So it's a great idea here, pairing it up with Keji on the Ullr to get this early pressure, making sure that the team fights are going to be less impactful for Michael Checo on this Yi.
Yeah, Michael Checo got a great lead last time around. We talked about it a lot on the Apollo. Keji just kind of held his own and really made the impact in the later stages of the game, which is absolutely fine. That's what hunters really like to do anyways, right? Is just wait it out and really do the bulk of your damage in the later stages. You can see Amaterasu hanging out on this left side. Going to try and zone away Michael Checo, but instead maybe going to try and solo this red buff?
He's just starting it off as Keji's able to solo the wave on the left, and now being paired up, this is a great power spike play here. They're able to get level 2 for Keji, taking the red buff, surprisingly enough, away from Keji. This is not something we're used to seeing out of supports. Normally, they're the ones to take the purple buff because they're melee characters, so you want to be closer to the action anyway.
Chillvanus felt like he deserved that one. I mean, he started it up, he took a lot of damage from it. That's his, right?
Well, it depends now what he does with this red buff. He's going to have to get the full value out of it. Well, another factor could be considering the fact that the red buff is still available for themselves. So they want to make sure that Chillvanus in hands will hurt a little bit harder in the early game, paired up with that aura from his passive. So you're getting the damage on this Amaterasu. You're able to clear the wave faster. You clear these oracles faster. And now you're going to be able to get your red and purple after this wave a lot faster.
As well as the Bumba's Mask pickup, we see 3 Bumba's Masks here for Strictly Business, really focusing on that early jungle clear. Kind of surprised we see actually Reminisst just smacked down by Delnyy in the solo lane. 2v1, Delnyy able to take it around and take that first blood.
That's the power of the Ymir. You have to respect this Frost Giant. That passive, the Frostbite, 100% increased damage from your in-hands after you hit an ability on any god. That's the difference between first blood or not. Not respecting that damage is Reminisst as he saves onto his purification beats.
Man, remember crit Ymir with Frostbite
we don't talk about those days.
Remember crit Hades? Those were the real days, totally. You fear him for 2 seconds and just crit him.
Oh. Why?
The good old days. But we got a lot of stuff going for us here in Season 4 as well. Nick would get to take the freeze on the right-hand side. But going back to this triple Bumba's Mask pickup, we see 2 for Elevate, both the mid lane and jungle. And that makes a good amount of sense to me because that's telling me that oBoronic and DoctorL don't want to be in the same spot. Nickwood doesn't want to be in this spot on the right-hand side. It's another kill on the solo side of the map. DoctorL picks this one up. Really, SB really struggling on that right, but we saw this from them in Game 1. We're going to see it from them again in Game 2. Gold Fury goes the way of Strictly Business. If Elevate's committing to that right side, SB seems content with that, and they'll just take the Gold Fury.
It's just a reoccurring theme. Same exact thing happening game number 1. oBoronic taking a lot of damage from that level 2 dev scythe. Only level 4 on the Thanatos for Reminisst, and that's only going to get increasingly more and more powerful. So probably going to be looking for more of a defensive build yet again for oBoronic. It worked out for him well in that last game. He was still at the top of the player damage chart despite having both the Dynasty Plate helmet and the Winged Blade.
Absolutely, can really make use of that base damage for Zeus like we talked about in Game 1. But let's try this a third time, totally. Triples Bumba's Mask for Strictly Business. Like I said, for oBoronic and DoctorL, it means that oBoronic and DoctorL are going to be on different sides of the map. oBoronic probably clearing the left, DoctorL clearing the right. But there just isn't enough jungle to go around with 3 Bumba's Masks. At least that's my initial reaction.
It's all about the invades from Strictly Business. If they're planning to invade, then they might as well go for these multiple Bumba's Masks and get some of the sustain option. But now with the recent changes to Bumba's Mask, only the closest person is going to be able to really get a benefit from it. So it's still not a bad idea. Oh, a lot of damage. That's from one combination. And Michael Checo having to sustain that up. Sometimes going back to the Bumba's... Oh, hold on. I thought the Reminisst has to execute.
Surprise, buddy. Reminisst finds the execute underneath the tower, but I know that kill goes to Reminisst, but that really should be handed over to Keji off a beautiful stun combination. It's the bread and butter of Ullr. There aren't a whole, it's not a fighting game, Smite, but you talk about bread and butter combos. Axe into Hail of Arrows into Bladed Arrow is as close as it gets in Smite.
That's why you want to use Purification Beads to avoid that combination. If you're going to get hit by that Axe Stone, which is a very difficult ability to hit, you're going to basically be getting hit by the full combo immediately after. You have to use the Purification Beads to negate the damage. Also, with the fact that Reminisst is playing the Thanatos in the jungle side, to be that low, you're giving yourself away with the Thanatos vision, as well as putting yourself in that execute threshold.
Checo's going to have a tough time in this lane moving forward, I think, totally, at least for the next few minutes, because you can see Keji's gone for the Warrior Tab by finish right away, and Michael Checo instead trying to rush this Transcendence down. So Keji going to have a good amount of damage over the top of Michael Checo, at least until that Transcendence is finished off. But as well as that mobility, it's going to be difficult for Checo to get away from Keji on this Ullr.
Checo's already 2 levels behind, about 700 gold behind his counterpart. So this is going to be a good spot for Keji on the Ullr, who's all about the ability damage, but Delnyy taking a lot of damage from Reminisst. A 4-man gank on the right-hand side, and this is a great timing gank on the right-hand side. This is the difference between Elevate gank and the Strictly Business gank on the right, because Gold Fury was still up when Elevate moved over to the right-hand side, but now Strictly Business, they don't have to worry about Gold Fury because they were the ones that snuck it away earlier on.
As well as the fact that SB wanted to be on that right side of the map anyways with their speed buff respawning, so it's just kind of on the way. You'll pick up your friend on the way. We'll pick up the solo laner kill. It's on the way to my speed buff. 2-2 now, SB in the lead, right around 1,500 gold, despite the excellent start from Elevate. They got the first 2 kills of the game, but SB's really responded in kind ever since. Reminisst, they're looking for Checo again, but I don't know if Reminisst is going to make it. The axe does reach Checo, and Reminisst does find the hovering death. Man, that thing goes really far. Keji able to pick up that kill, able to get one for himself. 1-0-1 for the Hunter. Like I mentioned, Checo's just going to have a tough time in this lane for the next few minutes.
If he had Warrior Tab, he would be able to outrun that hovering death, but instead electing to go for more of a mid-game focused build, that is so problematic now for Checo.
Nickwood going to take a little bit of damage. I really thought that Fear No Evil was going to come out there from DoctorL, but it did not. So Nickwood just going to hang out. I don't know if they had kill potential anyways. That Mark of the Vanguard, so difficult to punch through for the tanky solo laners like Xing Chen. And again, you called it, Totally. The reason we see the triple Bumbas is because of the invade potential for Strictly Business, and they take away another red buff. I don't believe Elevate's gotten one of their own yet this game.
Not again. Michael Checo. Oh, I thought he was going to get collapsed upon, but everybody's running away. Reminisst is not going to get stunned, but on the Gold Fury side, Mr. Teep is going to get blown up. The detonate is good.
All by himself, but now you could say the same about DoctorL. Reminisst trying to find it. Neither the Hail nor the Bladed Arrow is going to be able to pick up the jungler, but Keji will find it with the auto attack. Reminisst falling pretty low. Kenshin does have the cage, but the speed buff for the Thanatos is just enough to make sure he's safe. Chillvanus is here, as is Nickwood, who's teleported in. There's the flip back on a Kenshin. Cage comes down, and the damage from Hu-Yi as well. oBoronic had already used his Lightning Storm to pick up Mr. Teep in the jungle, so no Lightning Storm on top of it, but Kenshin does get out alive. SB still on top, 4-3 in kills.
Elevate just need to start grouping up on the left-hand side, making sure Michael Checo doesn't get pressured this hard. They have the composition where they want to be grouped up with Kenshin on the Odin cage, but Michael Checo, he still doesn't have Warrior Tabby.
Still can't get away from this damage. Great ricochet, though, and DoctorL's here to help him out, but again, Keji just on point with these axes, consistently poking out Michael Checo.
And no sustain either. No health potions, no Devo gloves, and this is going to put Checo in a bad spot to be able to get back to that laning phase. Oracles will go in the way of Strictly Business. Reminisst trying to throw that Death Cipher around a corner in case there was an unexpected head there, but not going to find that one. Still, Strictly Business doing a good job putting pressure all over the map with this Thanatos on Reminisst.
Delnyy still has a slight lead in the solo lane, still up one level onto Nickwood, and is able to secure those right side mid camps. Kenshin, you can see on the left, still here, just trying to help out Checo. This is what Elevate needs. And yes, it does hurt Michael Checo's farm because he's splitting it, whereas Keji is not. But it's better than dying in lane.
Over and over and over. Already having 2 deaths. He could have easily had 1 or 2 more without having that mobility, but DoctorL from behind trying to find Mr. Teep.
Well, see ya, dude. oBoronic able to pick up the detonate as well. Mr. Teep, no purification, no life. That's really the formula up against the Hun Batz. Meanwhile, Delnyy in the right side jungle was trying to invade Reminisst speed buff, but the Thanatos was able to secure it for his own squad. Elevate evens up the kill department 4-4 right after the 9-minute mark here. Pretty even game right now, but Elevate looking to make sure that's not the case anymore. Gold Fury started up, but they don't have 2 big team fighting ultimates, and the Oracle Vision is in favor of SB. Nickwood trying to find one with the pickup, and he will. oBoronic is going to have to use his purification beads, but Chillvanus just melts to the damage from the rest of Elevate. Dunk in and Death Sight. See you later. DoctorL, Reminisst puts him in the ground. There's the kill onto the jungler. Reminisst is going to be able to get away from the bird bomb there. Nice little bait, but you end up trading 1-for-1. It's support for jungler. I think that favors SB.
Absolutely, because they also stopped the Gold Fury time from Elevate, taking too much damage at this point. They didn't have the burst damage that they really wanted to. Michael Checo wasn't in a great spot to get off a lot of his damage. A lot of ultimates were used earlier on between oBoronic and DoctorL, so not having that for the Gold Fury fight makes it more trickier than you want to be in this mid-game objective. You have to make sure that these big area control is used in the jungle, right? Not necessarily in the mid lane. If you're going to find the Poseidon pick, that's all fine and dandy, but what are you truly getting out of it?
Not a whole lot. No invade or anything of the sort, so SB still able to start this up. Kenshin get a bird bomb and hit everybody, but Gold Fury still goes the way of Strictly Business. Teep trying to get away from the Suns, and he will. Don't know if I can say the same about Kenshin. I can't. Keji picks up his 3rd kill in the young game. 10 minutes in, the Hunter killing it already. DoctorL's here, does have that Fear No Evil, jumps up over the wall, there it is, finds all 4 members, but Nickwood finds 2 with the pickup and the throw, but the detonate from oBoronic's enough to secure the kill onto Nickwood. 1-for-1, Gold Fury going the way of SB, but their mid-tier 1 tower could be in some danger here.
Could be potentially, but Michael Checo is not here to really get off more damage. So that tower is going to be A-okay. He's in the fountain instead. So no tower to be pressured, even though it was a 1-for-1. Strictly Business with their 2nd Gold Fury of the game. Extending the lead ever so slightly. It's not too much to really write home about, but it's just something that you're preventing Elevate from getting back into the game and getting any sort of momentum moving forward. They still haven't really synergized all their ultimates in a great fashion.
No, not quite yet, and Kenshin just really playing like with no fear at all, birdballing into 5 members, but that's what he knows he's killing himself in that scenario, right? Totally, as a support, you know you are ending your own life, but it's about what you can do for the team. It ends up forcing Mr. Teep out of the fight, and then Nikwit is low from that engagement as well, which allows Elevate to even up that kill count, even despite losing their support. Again, SB, so much focus onto this portal team, and they snag another one away from Elevate, just extending that gold lead a little bit higher.
It's all about the timing of when you go for these right side objectives. Yet again, strictly business. They only go towards the right whenever Gold Fury is down. The first time around, it was to kill Delnyy on the Ymir. Second time, it was to get another objective in the form of the portal demon, extending their lead a little bit here. Left-hand side, though, Checo taking a little bit of damage, but forced into the purification beads. He's learned his lesson this time.
Absolutely. Keji does so much damage that Checo knows he can't afford to take it, but he's going to be in trouble now. There's the dunk down as well. Checo, we'll see you later, buddy. Keji's going to be able to pick that one up as a nice little treat for forcing out that purification, but the rest of Elevate's in the middle lane trying to kill Teep. Looks like Fear No Evil was used there. Teep did use his purification beads, but it still saved his life for the time being. There's the Whirlwind of Rage's deal. oBoronic does have that purification beads. He's going to use it to make sure he's safe.
Still 3 on 4 in the mid lane. The meditation is popped from Chillvanus. They could potentially dive this. DoctorL is in the back. He doesn't have his ultimate, though.
Great knockback there from Teep. Reminisst is still locked in that cage. There's a circle into the circle like we were talking about. But all of a sudden, that comp looks pretty good. Ooh. There's the kill onto Reminisst, just short of that wall. Delnyy, just a hair too slow on the trigger there. Chillvanus able to escape with that dash. But Elevate still pressuring this tier 1 Kenshin. That's a Kraken, and it gobbles up the Odin, not able to get away from that one. No tier 1 tower falling, and Keji's made the rotation. Delnyy's in some trouble here.
Doesn't connect on the axe, but it's 4 members around. Delnyy puts himself in one spot, making it very easy for Keji to confirm the hail and the blade arrows. And during that whole time in the mid tier 1 tower, Keji was taking advantage of Michael Checo's death, getting that tier 1 tower of his own. So it was strictly business. Not only do they defend their own tier 1 mid, they get a tower of their own.
They've been killing it on the left-hand side all game long. Like we mentioned, I don't think Elevate's gotten a red buff of their own quite yet, though. With the positioning of strictly business, it looks like at the 14-minute mark, they may just do that for the first time in the game. The focus has been onto the duo lane from SB all across the board. 2 Gold Furies for them, consistent red buff invades, and keeping Michael Checo down. They've succeeded thus far. 0, 3, and 2 for the Hunter, and Keji 4, 0, and 3. Definitely a product of that pressure provided by the rest of Strictly Business.
And Elevate, they still have a good chances in this game with their composition. Delnyy has great control in these team fights. He's trying to get a little bit more resilient here. Does have the Spirit's Robe, recognizing that the control is really out of control here, if you look at it from Strictly Business, in terms of at least Nikwit and Keji trying to find multiple stuns here. So that's going to make it a lot of that damage. And now, with more mobility and health, going for a Wing Blade.
Trying to get a little bit of slow immunity there. There's the Fear No Evil onto Reminisst, and the cage is good as well, but he's just able to get up in the sky, but he comes down, and DoctorL had the Aegis, so he can't find that execute, though he does find Kenshin. That could have been a great turnaround and a double kill for SB, but instead, just 1 for 1. A nice Kraken there from Mr. Teep.
But oBoronic might be out of position here through Rage and Steel. Finds 2. There's more members coming, though. Finding the nice freeze on Chillvanus, but Delnyy taking a lot of damage. He's going to get dove onto the tier 2, but the meditate keeping him alive for a little bit longer. oBoronic's detonate doesn't do too much damage, but with a meditate of their own for Strictly Business, that could be a tier 1 mid tower, but instead going for the Gold Fury.
Just doesn't have that Gem of Isolation completed quite yet for Mr. Teep. That would have certainly spelled probably 2 kills there if he had a Gold Fury very, very low. DoctorL's here, but immediately SB just pull off the Gold Fury and erase DoctorL from existence. Then they pick up the Gold Fury and erase that as well. 3 going the way of SB already. 1 every 5 minutes, basically. 15 minutes in, and SB has controlled this left side of the map consistently. 4,600 gold in the lead for their efforts.
There has to be a checklist going through your head whenever you either start or contest an objective. For DoctorL, he didn't have his purification beads, he didn't have his Aegis, he didn't have Fear No Evil. He had no business trying to contest that Gold Fury objective, and it was a great recognition of Strictly Business, just peeling off of it, finding the easy kill, especially during the overhand smash, where he's basically an easy sitting duck.
Absolutely, it's pretty easy to hit Batz during that overhand smash. Has a lot going for his kit, absolutely, but one of the few weaknesses for the jungler there for Elevate. DoctorL is sitting at 2-3-5, and oBoronic 5-0. His positioning has been on point so far this game, despite some pretty heavy focus from Nikwid in particular. But it just hasn't been enough to give Elevate a lead. The rest of the team just still struggling a little bit, specifically on that left-hand side like we've really harped on so far. There's the 3-man pickup. No Kraken here, though, for Mr. Teep. He's still coming back from base. Fear No Evil, Lightning Storm. Nikwid trying to get away, is able to jump up over that wall. The overhand smash, not enough.
Finds
Nikwid, he's out! He's gone! There's the Kraken as well! That kills 1 and 2 with the knockup. And there's the execute as well. 3 for 0. SB, are you joking me? How did Nikwid live?
Oh my goodness, able to bait so long, taking advantage of relics being on cooldown. This is why Xing Chen is played at the highest of levels. You have your knock up into the root with your second ability. You have your ultimate to take advantage of any beads being down. And just like that, 3 easy picks. They find the portal demon. They're even going for the fire giant, and nobody's here from Elevate.
This is just, this is one of the most, that little quick chain of events in favor of Strictly Business is one of the most crushing, quick swings in another team's favor that I've seen. I mean, Nikwid somehow able to escape. If Elevate's able to pick him up, maybe they win the rest of the team fight. SB doesn't, if they don't take so long, SB can't come in and clean that fight up. Maybe then the Fire Giant gets picked up by Elevate. Instead, Nikwid lives, you get triple killed, and then you lose the Fire Giant as well.
And not only was Nikwid's ultimate good in terms of setting up the team fight a little bit, the damage from Chillvanus on his ultimate set things up, but the fact that Nikwid not only lived, but it's where he lived, it's where he dragged Elevate into a position closer to Mr. Teep, closer to the Fire Giant that was actually pulled, but oBoronic is getting pulled into no man's land. Everybody did a flankerino.
Rip that perfect death record. Reminisst gonna make sure Delnyy doesn't have one either, though that's already his 4th death. oBoronic not in the right position there. No towers there to help him out. Not gonna be a Phoenix in this right side very soon either. You can see Elevate and Elevate's jungler and Hunter split pushing right now, understanding that they can't contest any sort of objective push by the Fire Giant's laced Strictly Business. Tier 1 tower and left falls. DoctorL trying to get the 1,500 gold for his team in the mid lane as well, and it looks like he will do so successfully. So a good amount of gold going back the way of Elevate, but SB responds with a tier 2 tower of their own in the mid lane.
And it's all about, it's not necessarily stopping the lead from SB, it's just making sure that you still have some items of your own to be able to contest these team fights. Michael Checo forced to jump over, but Reminisst has too much mobility and too many teammates around his side.
There, Teep picks him up with an easy kill.
Jumping in celebration.
Yeah, just making sure Checo knows who the real boss is in that left side jungle. I think Checo knows, though, after this game. He's had a tough time from the very get-go because of the strategy there from Strictly Business. 17-8, almost, they're 9 kills in the lead, almost 10,000 gold as well. And that's without taking this last tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. That's without taking this Gold Fury on respawn, which I assume they will be doing just based on how much they seem to love Gold Furies. SB really, really likes to take that objective.
It's been a reoccurring theme this game for SB to really bully Michael Checo here. And I kind of feel bad for him because he's getting bullied inside the game. And then if you look back towards the relegations, everybody's bullying him outside the game, copying his name. Is
that bullying? Is that the hardcore bullying we're going for? Not just like, it could just be some fun, right?
They're bullying.
Checo is the new black, saving Private Checo.
Shaving Checo's eyebrows.
See, that one's bullying. That's not nice. But Checo's the new black's kind of a compliment, right? He's chic. He's cool. He's the new black.
But there can only be one Checo.
That's true.
And this is why they're focusing the one and the only Checo, and SB have a very convincing lead, diving the back line, forcing oBoronic out of the team fight. The Fear No Evil trying to delay a little bit longer, but everybody from SB peeling past the Phoenixes.
Kraken hits 2 there. Delnyy, he's trying to run away. Reminisst picks up DoctorL. Nikwid just trolled all of Elevate and just allowed SB to get the left side Phoenix. Middle Phoenix falls as well. There's the Lightning Storm from oBoronic, but it's not going to be enough as Teep picks him up. Delnyy next on the list. He is able to escape to the fountain. The Titan falling very, very quickly. Strictly Business coming out of the relegation, the Challenger Cup, and they've been killing it. The 2-0 over Elevate, second place in North America, only behind my guys. SB with a clean 2-0 victory over Elevate.
In 21 minutes, too. Very
Yeah.
convincing. You know, they also found the 2-0 against Obey.
They did.
Alliance. They're putting themselves in a great spot already. Week number 3 at the top of the standings.
They're really killing it right now. Both them and my guys have had an absolutely unbelievable start. Kind of funny that the two teams that come out of the relegations are the two teams that are right on top of the SCL right now. And with plays like we saw from SB in both Game 1 and Game 2, you can clearly see why. They were killing it all across the map.
That's kind of what happened last season in terms of Aware Gaming, able to come back into the SCL, being able to make a huge statement going into Worlds. They didn't necessarily find themselves in a great spot at Worlds, but it's still, they had a great experience in terms of getting further ahead and putting themselves in a good spot for Season 4.
Absolutely. I mean, those guys who are now on Elevate still need a little bit of work, clearly. They're still trying to work out exactly what they want to do among themselves, moving DoctorL around. Looked like it was going pretty well, but Game 2, maybe not as much. Though with how strong Keji played in Game 2, it was difficult to get anything going in the jungle, really. This Ullr was absolutely killing it just all across the map. The focus in particular onto that dual lane side, I know we talked about it a lot, but it was just a very clear plan from Strictly Business that was executed very, very well.
Yeah, even in Game 1, just stopping a lot of the axes from the side of DoctorL playing the Ratatasker. But Reminisst had a great game as well on the Thanatos, able to dive so many options in the backline, having the mobility necessary with that Shield of Regrowth passive, diving oBoronic time in and time out. Despite having that tanky presence, was no match at this stage of the game.
No, Reminisst has already had a very, very strong showing on Thanatos multiple times here in the SCL. Played both games here in this set. Played it against Obey last week as well. You can see just how comfortable he is on this assassin character. Like I mentioned, Keji, he just killed it both games. Also with the Ullr, double down for both Reminisst and Keji for both times, but both Keji just really, really impressed with his play and has continued to do so ever since the very first start of relegations. There was a time where on the console scene, specifically in North America, the Hunter pool was a little bit weak as a whole as far as the characters go, or the players rather, that are playing the position. But I don't think you could say that anymore. Keji and Checo and these guys who are coming into the SEL look very, very strong.
So flashy also, just blinking in past the Kabrak and ultimate. Why not spend 750 gold just to blink past the Phoenix?
Just make everyone go, where did he go? And then he's right behind you with an axe. Mr. Teep absolutely killed it in Game 2 as well. Game 1 had a little bit of a struggle in the early stages of the game, but right from the get-go in Game 2, he was on fire.
And this is a great showing from him, because it's not very easy to have a poor performance in the first game and to be able to still make such a convincing fashion and statement in game number 2, even finding some flanks.
Absolutely. This is where oBoronic fell, and this was the beginning of the end. Though I suppose it was a little bit earlier than that, I suppose, there for Strictly Business. We were able to take the 2-0 victory over Elevate. Really strong showing from them today. We aren't quite done yet, though. We still got one more set coming your way. We'll bring that to you right after this very, it's going to be short. I promise.
So short.
Really short break. Like tiny.